return of Capoch. We have not seen this lad in what feels like too long. It's been weeks, at least, since we last saw Capoch. But I noticed he's online. I noticed the grind is commencing once again with him. And who does he run into? Your future FFA tourney champ is, of course, the one and only Core. Let's check in on this one. And this should be a fun one as well, because we're going to Hillendale for a Chinese Delhi matchup. Hello. And Capoch playing the Delhi. We'll see if it feels familiar to him, because I'm pretty sure Capoch hasn't really been active for a while. In fact, if we were to check his data, Capoch is currently 397th. He played last 23 days ago. So yeah, there you go. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, he took a long break. He took a longer break than B, in fact. But it looks like he's back, and I'm glad of it. You know, I enjoyed watching Capoch. I thought he brought something special to the game. It's nice to see more of the AoE 2 lads willing to dive back into AoE 4. I wonder if the Wall announcement had anything to do with this, if it maybe lit something under him. He's like, maybe I can make it. Maybe I can be the one. Yeah. I'll see if he can. I mean, you know, Core definitely is hoping to be there as well. Core, who couldn't make it that deep into Golden League. In fact, I hate to do it. Golden League, I'm pretty sure his only win was over Snooper. So didn't really accrue that many points at the end of the day. But, you know, Core, he takes it. He brushes it off his shoulder. He gets on with it. He gets down to business. He's been hard on the grind. He's been very enthusiastic about giving back to the community where he can with his streaming, with his Mega Random Nomad hosting, and with death matches. And yeah, I know he's very excited for the upcoming Mega Random Nomad deathmatch tournament that I think is happening in a month or two. So, but we're not talking about those free-for-alls. We're talking about the 1v1s, right? And on the 1v1s, Core is still a very competent player. You have to remember this guy is always about 30th to 40th on the ranked leaderboard at the moment. Actually currently 39th in the world at the time of recording. So definitely has a leg up over Capoch, who, as we said, is 397th. But we do have to remember that I think he got burnt out pretty hard. In fact, he was playing ranked 23 days ago, but he was going up against these people that maybe are known for a little bit of cheesy or cheeky strategies like the Pilot Elf back in those days, as well as a few different Smurfs. So he did have a hard time with it. He did rank quite low. A lot lower than I think most of us would have expected for Capoch. So this will be learning more than anything else for him. Let's see what he can teach over the Core as well, though. Because Core, playing as the Chinese on Hillendale, is probably stroking his chin, thinking, how many TCs do I want? Do I want one TC? No. 2 TCs? Maybe. 3 TCs? 4 TCs? Well, why would I build 4? I'm the Chinese. I basically get 4 worth for free. And I imagine that's probably where he's going to be sticking the number. Song Dynasty with 3 TCs. We'll get to find out in the coming minutes, though. First of all, he needs to get his tech up. Expecting an Imperial Academy first. You are up against the Delhi. There is a threat of some early harassment, but the way the Delhi harass the map, they don't, well, that's the thing. They don't harass your base. They harass the map, right? They harass the midfield because they want to play for sacred sites. They very rarely do they ever actually rush into your base. Instead, they tend to chill in the midfield. And what that does is that offers up an opportunity for Core to be very potent as a Chinese around the 10 to 15 minute mark. Because that's the stage of the game where you unlock Song Dynasty, and then you do have the variability to your play to go into Zhugnu that actually decimate everything the Delhi do at this stage in the game, because they can only build horsemen, spearmen, or archers. 2 units of which are light infantry with no armor, and the other one, while it has some ranged resistance, it can still be Peppa Pig down pretty easily. Instead of that, though, Core is going for the Barbican. Hello. Only 4 villages moving out, mind you, but is going to establish dominance over this sacred site. It will deny one of the gold trickle sources for the Delhi player in this matchup, and will actually give him the variability maybe to think about going onto the board here. We'll see if he actually wants to hang around for it, though. With the assistance of the Barbican, maybe he'll be able to shoot it down fast enough. Kind of curious to see if that is the mindset with this. We'll just have to see. More back in base. Plenty of sheep to stack him as well, so there's no rush to like move out for risky food sources. I think Core actually got really good yields here. It's very important in comparison for Capoch to play midfield. You notice his berries are being exploited very quickly. Remember, they got nerfed. Used to be 500, now down to 350 with a mill next to them. On top of that, he has barely any sheep back in base. In fact, I don't think he really has any coming back. Yeah, that's a very greedy choice. Capoch only went for 1 scout, which is why he has no food reserves. This is very problematic. I'm not a fan of what Capoch has done here. Most players have yielded that they need a second scout by now. It's critical to get info and also get the food source from the sheep. The fact that he didn't is like, it's a double-edged sword, right? Like, well, I mean, well, not a double-edged sword. It's kind of, actually, it's a sword with two-pronged edges pointing towards you because you stabbed yourself twice here. What I mean by that is, like, you've limited your vision, you've missed out on additional food sources, so you've got very limited value on your high ground. And then on top of that, you've given over a huge value to the Chinese that want to be able to stack all their food sources on one meal, where they can tax additionally there with the supervise. And then also, remember, with that supervise, these finite food sources, they're becoming an extra 20%, right? So this 250 food source is 300. That adds up very quickly to a huge amount of additional value on the high ground for Core, meaning he's less likely to have to come out than the Delhi player. And now he's going to look to eco boom up. Goes to the Imperial Academy. This is going to zoom him ahead. Capoch has even more reasons to need to play out onto the field. And it was a ball play in the end. He did actually go into the ball here. So right now, these food rates are going to be phenomenal for Core. You notice, in fact, he just switched 14 people over. So in the next minute, watch this income boom up vastly ahead of Capoch. He's lacking in that department. Only having 12 people now. And it means that now, with the Song Dynasty as well, he'll have the food income to be able to support this. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a pull across onto the stone. And yep, there it is. Straight away, 5 people shifting over on the stone line. Walls are going up from Core as he tries to insulate himself from any sort of horseman aggression early on. As that is now starting to come out from Capoch, who did opt to go into the spearman first. Now defense is going up. He's going to need to be quick, though, because the horsemen are coming in to punish him here. And as it stands, Core not having a single military building, no way of defending himself. We'll go for the tap of the hammers. A little bit too delayed. Nice block coming in from Capoch. We'll block him from getting the walls up. And it should be one villager getting sacrificed. Too much damage coming out from the horsemen, the spearmen on the chase in. Only one tap remaining. Wait, what? No, Capoch, come on, man. That was a freebie. He backs off when he could have actually easily finished that off. Remember, the horseman moves a lot faster. 1.88 compared to the 1.12, as Core still hasn't even got the wheelbarrow yet. So missed opportunity there. Outpost now being constructed up. But an opportunity to deny that by getting your own outpost up first. And the tech up now complete. Core should be able to sidestep into Jignu. And I would love to see him actually go for an archery range, get 5 Jignu, and use outposts as a reset defense, right? Just basically garrison, ungarrison, pepper your opponent down every time they try to torch. And then even these horsemen can't do anything. The moment the villagers are going to be forced to garrison, that is going to shift away Capoch's aggressive villager. So we have to go for a back outpost instead. More troops are being pushed in. Capoch, yet to get access to those sacred sites, mind you, is now starting to cap them up. Only one scholar out so far. Can't play onto the eastern run. Remember, the Barbican is there to block him. Barbican that is also providing protection for the boar gathering, which is giving the required food income for Core to maintain in his base at all times. And more outpost reactionary coming out from Core. With 11 villagers here, he'll be able to build up much quicker than the 45 seconds required for Capoch to get these online. And once again, be able to push his opponent away with the gunslinger upgrades as well. Coming through is going to be very annoying for Capoch. Nowhere left to run, nowhere to hide. Feels like a wasted investment. He does at least have 2 of the sacred sites that are going to be under his control. But in the meantime, you can see the stone is gathering up. Core getting ready for a TC expansion. Does now need to sort his wood. It shouldn't take him too long to do exactly that, actually. Like in this situation now, with the Jignu available as he does drop the archer range, this is where Core starts to take the power in this matchup. This is where Capoch is going to need some sort of transition. Realistically, what you want is a ASAP, quick as possible, like just boom up into castle with a small vanguard to keep your opponent pinned in. You do need to apply some damage, because what you want to do is at least try to do eco damage, whether it's directly through killing villagers or idle time, because you can see these numbers are very healthy. At this rate, Core will go for a secondary TC and a castle age more or less at the same time. Jignu now starting to come out. As you see, a good counter to the horseman. A lot of the damage does get reduced, but not as much as should be, because it looks like the blacksmiths were very late actually out from Capoch. Yeah. So, oh, baby, no. Capoch, come on, buddy. No. He's got 3 scholars banked, and he's not even researching anything right now. You need the Iron Undermesh. The Iron Undermesh actually decreases a substantial amount of the Jignu damage. Frustrating situation here as Capoch, he'll finally start to research it now. These blacksmith upgrades, you feel like they should have been there sooner. He's going to try to compensate with a secondary blacksmith to get all the tech ups. But by the time they come through, you're going to lose several of your troops. Shugnu trying to punish the scholars, unable to do so. Numbers are amassing fast for Capoch. Core needs to sort his wood if he wants to go for that TC expansion. Can't just yet, as he needs to get into the racks. He needs a direct counter to the horsemen that are escalating fast. I think you go to about 12 to 14 Jugnu and then just stack Spearmen. You've got the supervisors to get the numbers up fast as well. You definitely have the income to support it for the time being. Do need to be careful what Capoch is doing in the back here. Remember, this whole while, he's been given 2 sacred sites, and Core is yet to actually exploit any economical value out of this, right? He hasn't got his tech up. He hasn't got his secondary TC. So realistically, Capoch is just ahead. Like, to put it bluntly, like, he's vastly ahead right now. And you can see on the gold, like, at any stage, he can start trading for the food required for a tech up. And that's exactly what he's doing. Market being built up. Raiding onto the village in the meantime. Jugnu are going to be forced to respond, but with 4 scholars on the front line, Capoch can keep this force alive for a very long time. And also, that missile resistance is coming through soon. Iron Unmesh just a minute away. Scholars need to be careful as they have 0 armor. The Jugnu will shred them like paper. As long as the micro is on point, he shouldn't actually lose any of these horsemen. The Jugnu count has to keep increasing. You do need to be careful with your Capoch. One thing you could be doing right now is torching down this palisade wall to give him an in and out. Because right now, if he gets pushed to the corner, if enough spearmen show up, he's just dead. So he needs to be careful. Covering Jugnu. Starts to target out onto the horsemen. Taking them down one by one. Spearmen holding them at bay. The horsemen taking bad trades. And the skull's being sniped out. That's big. Going to force them away. No healing coming through. Will even focus fire upon them as they retreat. And a bad fight taken by Capoch, but it does cover his tech up. Maybe jumping the gun. Maybe an unneeded fight here, actually. He will at least reach castle age, but now he gives a little bit of breathing room. Core might actually have an opportunity to begin booming up and recover fast here. Does need to sort his gold ASAP. But it's going to be House of Learning, and that means that fragile state at the start of the castle age is going to be insulated for Capoch. Don't expect aggression towards him anytime soon, which should allow him to access home blades and will give him good trades, because the interesting part about this matchup is if both players do get forced into their man-at-arms variety units, remember that Capoch does have this ace up his sleeve, right, with a force march, just allowing him to gap close and overwhelm the Palace Guard. Palace Guard, of course, in long terms will move faster than the Delhi, but in those critical moments in a fight, 10 seconds of doubling the speed of man-at-arms up to over 2 a second is phenomenal. And it is a critical tool to have in your arsenal. So TC going up on the deer. And it looks like Castle is not going to be far behind for Core. As we said, now insulated on that high ground. No way for Capoch to insta-raid in. And he's going to start pushing the Lancers, so we're going hard on the home blades as a reliance to win this game. And if this does get spotted, it will be a knee-jerk pivot into crossbows coming out from Core. But as it stands now, he doesn't have the info. Might assume it's coming, considering his investment in Jugnu. It would be logical for his opponent to push armored units. And I love this out of Capoch now. An aggressive TC into the center, because he should maintain midfield control. Looks like he has cancelled it. It's a little bit of a better placement, but overall, this is a really cool play. I think this is the right way to play it as well, because as it stands now, if you lose mid-flow control, you lose the game. The way the Chinese win this is finding a way of breaking your midfield and then flooding out to exploit the resources via their TC boom. Because I am expecting 3 TCs after the Castle Age. Like, it's still feasible for Core. That being said, out of the Chinese players we watch, I have noticed that Core tends to stop at 2 TCs. So we'll just have to see what's coming in the next 2 minutes, but I definitely think it's still a 3 TC variable situation. Meanwhile, Capoch just going to start to open up these palisade walls slowly but surely. Lancers marching around the side as well. Nice march in from the man-at-arms. We'll stop him gathering on the ball. Does snipe down one of the villagers, but most of the ball has been taken. Castle Age now reached. This is the time to go if you're ever going to Capoch. Problem is, he's still outnumbered, and the Jugnu, like, burning through this is going to cost you a lot. In fact, the Jugnu, even with a 1 damage, like, it's 3 damage, right? This is the thing that you have to keep in mind. Compared to an archer right now, these Jugnu are doing 3 damage where an archer would do 1. And that's why this damage is heavy on the Lancers. Just look at how effective it is. Forces them away. Palisade is just proving effective, but Capoch does at least have midfield control still. And it is going to be now in the Siege Workshop. Siege Workshop that will easily dispatch everything that Core is likely to build, right? You now can't really go into Palace Guard. You're up against Lancers and Man-at-Arms, which are going to have home blades. So you're probably thinking about crossbows. And in the meantime, you have a lot of Jignu. And you have to remember that Mangonels did get the damage buff against range units, now doing 50% more damage, meaning that actually 2 Mangonel shots will kill off Jignu and crossbow alike. And we'll start to see those Mangonels coming out. No production efficiency, so he isn't pushing the double speed, but just 2 Mangonels is really all he needs. And right now, it looks like Core doesn't have the answer, unlikely to do so anytime soon, as he hasn't actually started with Springolds. So he doesn't even assume his opponent is going to try to react like this. Barbican is still a formidable defense, but as you can see the numbers increasing for Capoch, he will soon look to siege that. And the push out. The push out may be poorly timed though. Mangonel, first one coming out. Remember that this is Jignu up against heavily armored units with the missile resistance up at 5, meaning you do 1 damage per shot. Burst of 3. Has gone for the double up on the damage though, up at 7 now, so at least a little bit of tickling done here. That's going to force the fight. Spearman trying to buffer away the Lancers. Lancers wrapping around as the Man-at-Arms look to engage on both sides now, pinching him here. It's going to force the investment. The Mangonels getting in range. Heavy fire coming in. Nice sidestep. But no, the other side of the formation. It gets hit. That hit the Spearman as well, so heavy damage done there. Sticks on top of him. A bad trade coming through from Core. He's going to be forced to retreat behind his walls. Capoch is going to continue to assault. And now Capoch probably looking for a secondary Mago in this situation. Might try to stop at 1, assuming his opponent is going to respond with Springolds. I think you just need to get that Mago. Maybe even think about Treb here. Yep, Treb is going to be... Makes sense, right? Get through the Barbican and then push into the base. Understand that as it stands, Core doesn't actually have a defense force to hold comfortably behind this wall due to the Mangonels. He actually needs to get the Springolds online. Instead, he goes for the Nest of Bees. I'm not sure I like this, Core. I think you need Springolds more. I think it's more important that you get rid of his siege than it is that you get your own. Nest of Bees, of course, have good splash still up against Man-at-Arms, but you are up against Man-at-Arms. You are up against the potential of the Force March as well. We can see that Capoch hasn't got it. You don't have that info yet. By the time you actually get that info, you're going to be losing a fight. And that's a risk I just personally wouldn't want to be taking here. It's like Core is going to start losing that Barbican. And this is a bigger problem now, the War Elephant coming out. War Elephant that does feel unanswered. Decent resistance here up against the Jignu. A huge health ball on them at 1400 HP. Now with the Military Academy, I mean, this is kind of where the Delhi get ridiculous, right? Military Academy on top of the efficient production, like the production time just gets insane for them. Like honestly, this is as quick as you can go ward, right? Like the baby gets pushed out, they're instantly put into a trolley and pushed out the ward. That's what it feels like here. They come out, by the time they're 4, they're learning how to wield a sword in this army. Which is why it's escalating so fast. 47 to the 22. And keep right here on the Sacred Site because he understands that although he can breach in the base, he can just win this game off of Sacred Sites right now. Like, he doesn't necessarily need to go into the base. Core has to come out. This is the fragile nature of this. This is the power of Delhi on Hill and Dale, why they've become such an oppressive civ on this map. Especially ever since the nerf to the woodlines. Now with only 1.2 woodlines, I'd say it's more like, compared to the old 2 woodlines, where 1 would also be a natural defense usually, you find yourself having to come off the high ground sooner. And the Delhi want you to come off the high ground. The Delhi want you to fight in this weird kind of grudge match where no one's really gaining ground, where they're maintaining flow control over the Sacred Sites, because every single one of these Sacred Sites is accruing 150 gold per minute for Capoch. It looks like the plan for Core is to build static defenses and probably go for a tech up. I mean, he's floating a lot of resources here. The issue with this, however, is the count for Capoch. Like, if you tech up, he's going to dive. And with Trebs being built, this keep isn't going to protect you. This Trebs looking insta-blitz through the walls at this rate. I'm expecting 3, maybe 4 Trebs at this rate. Also, he's going to go for the Greased Axles first to make sure he can't be gap closed upon. Doesn't know what he's going to be up against next, right? It's been a few minutes since Core came out of his base. He might have made a transition. Whatever that transition is, better get greedy or better get aggressive, because you can't float the 2. You need to either fight or you need to boom right now because you've got 10 minutes to make it work. Nesta B's revealed. Flood through, pushing in. Boiling it all is a threat, so it looks like Capoch is going to sidestep this and back off. He realizes there should have been enough time for that to come out. We'll get his confirmation with the push-in of one of the Lancers, but now Treb's doing heavy damage. You need to pull a lot of villagers to keep this alive. Mango even adding into it. And Core is, wow, Core, he can't afford the wood to do this right now. He's shifting out. He's dropping a keep on the sacred site. He's trying to go for the decap. But I'm more concerned about his base, because the Trebs are out of breach here because he didn't repair it. And it might be too late for the repair now as well. Yep. Heavy damage coming in. Keep about to be on fire. And definitely not going to be long for this world. While that's happening, a march across. Lancers moving in. Keep is going to be constructed. So Core will be able to back away, but he might be punished for this because now his villagers might be getting stuck out in the middle of no man's land. This many Lancers can actually cut you off from retreat if you're not paying attention. And Core right now has 3 different pings going off. Make that 4. He's not going to notice in time. The rapid successful heavy hit into the eco count. Core can't afford to be losing troops like this. Can't afford to be losing villagers like this. Especially with the block out. Capoch, not the best micro to get every single one of the villagers, but most of them are dead now. We'll look to torch in here. Should be careful of the boiling oil. All the while now, push out coming in the center. Man at arms. They need to hold him back here. Trebs need to be a little bit careful. Mango damage is heavy here. Only 1 Mangonel though. And now the Warfman getting involved with the mixer. Trebuchets even targeting out on this. Mango doing heavy damage to the Shugenu. The Shugenu falling a little bit too fast here. They cannot get through the Man at arms. Another shot coming out before the Mango goes down. But now the pushback. The Man at arms rushing in here. The Lancers are renewing their assault in the center. The Trebuchets ready to push through. The Keep no longer stands. And Core now in trouble. I mean, he doesn't have the army anymore. He really doesn't. Like, Core, what is this eco right now? He has so much gold. And he's doing nothing with it. I mean, I don't know if this was a greedy attempt to go for a tech up instead, but whatever it is truly backfired here. He'll bind to the stone. He'll try to build up fast, but how many villagers need to die to get this one up? And how long is it even going to last? Because they are just being clobbered down right here. We'll go for the full garrison and dive through. Capoch needs to be careful. This is going to be heavy damage from the boiling oil. He seems to be ignoring that, diving past this. So it looks like for the moment, Core able to stabilize. Needs to be a little bit careful though. Flood through on the other side as Capoch tries to dive deeper. Right now, Core at risk of losing his eco lead. He's definitely lost control of the map. More troops pushing in. That eco lead clearly going to be going to Capoch now, as he actually did sneak a third TC here. So looking very healthy economically. Remember, on top of this, having 450 gold extra in his eco, he's clearly ahead of Core now. In fact, when we look at the income per minute, so you can see right now, like, he's ahead in every department. Stone as well, really. Let's ignore this figure because neither of them are gathering then. I mean, this is going the way of the dodo now for Core. Even more villagers idling as he tries to keep up. And while that's happening, a raid through on his farm. There's more idle ecos. He's not gathering the farms either. I mean, I don't know what the comeback plan is anymore for Core. He just doesn't have the infrastructure. He can't afford it. Look at the wood right now. This is the biggest issue. This is the issue with playing defensive on Hill and Dale. You have to come out at some point, and he's come out too late. And where would he go anyway? Because here's the detail that Core didn't react to when he saw the generation of the map. He needed to be out in the midfield sooner due to the wood state. The Barbican was meant to enable that, but because he wasn't able to defend it, because there was no proxy base, there was no wood gain. And now, with his wood lines being depleted like this, he is about to run dry. And when he does, he will not be able to afford the Jugnu. He will not be able to afford any anti-siege. He will not be able to afford the infrastructure to push Capoch back. Capoch, who already has more military buildings pushing troops to the front line. I mean, it's hard to see a way back in now. Palace Guard are trying to stabilize him. Mango is just about going to survive as it wheels away. And you might push him out of your base, but the problem is you need to push out of your base. You are out of time. You have very limited wood reserves on the high ground. After that, you really are up Craps Creek without a paddle. Capoch this time coming in again. It's even more healthy than last time. I feel like there's going to be a keep drop coming as well. You can see Capoch hard in the stone. If he actually gets a keep down right on the edge of this base, Core's not getting out. It just becomes a tomb from which you will never emerge. Now, torch damage onto the Palisades, trying to breach through. Trebs need to be careful of the Springles. Even a switch up in the archers coming out from Capoch. Interesting choice here. Seems like that's actually archers as well. Yeah, here it is. Worst case scenario has been revealed here. He needs wood. He needs it right now. He needs to be on this wood line here. The fact he hasn't wrapped around for it yet, the fact he's taking his time is going to leave him starved, as his wood income is about to go from a 1.5k plus to 0 in the blink of an eye. And the rush through timing could not have been better for Capoch. Barely any reserves to call. Once he loses his army, he can't afford to replace it. Meanwhile, Capoch in a situation where he can infinitely replace the losses. Mangoes, heavy damage coming in the Jugnu. Jugnu exposed, no front line, no backbone to the eco for Capoch anymore. And with no wood to stabilize him, with no wood line to renew his front line, Capoch will make a pretty dominant return to competitive play on the rank ladders here, as he will blitz a top 40 player on Hill and Dale.